Welcome to Soul Sync, a sacred space for women of color navigating the in-between. I'm Pamela J. Thomas, and I created this podcast to hold space for your next chapter. Let's take a breath and begin. Welcome to Soul Sync, where we pause long enough to hear the truth beneath the noise. I'm Pam Thomas, your host. Today's episode is going to invite us into a conversation about how to navigate life's transitions, expected and unexpected. And I'm so honored to be joined today by a good friend of mine and somebody that I'd like to be like when I grow up. Her name is Heather Byrd, an award-winning poet, writing coach, and creative catalyst, named a living legacy by Brooks' permission. So honored to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me. Talking about you want to be like me when you grow up.
I think I love your creative energy. So before we dive in, I just want to take a moment, as we always do, gather ourselves and take a breath together. So ground yourself, put your feet on the floor, and see if you can find a reasonably upright position with your spine so you can get that big breath in. And we're going to take a deep inhalation. Nice, slow exhalation. And I want to invite you to let something go and welcome something in. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So, Heather, we're here having this deep conversation. We always have deep conversations. So just so you all know, Heather is the founder and creative inspiration within a community that I have joined, a writers community. It's just a beautiful experience. And we always are meeting, but it often happens in groups. So this is a one-on-one, an unusual thing for us. Anyhow, Heather, your story is so fascinating. And I know one of the reasons I'm really excited to have you on at this moment is because once again, as life shows us, we are always in transition. That's just the truth of the matter. And I know you just had a big one. Why don't you first of all tell us about your work and about your community?
Absolutely.
And then talk about how all of that weaving is unfolding at the moment as you're transitioning from one situation to another.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Pam, for having me. I was so honored when you invited me to be a part of this project and all of the things that you have unfolding, like seeing your progress over the past, hasn't even been a year yet.
Has not been a year. I met you last fall. I know. It seems like forever.
But
Look,
you've done so much. And so to be a part of that process, I thank you so much for trusting me and for being a big part of what we're building.
absolutely.
Yeah. So for those of you who do not know me, my name is Heather Byrd, and I am a visionary and CEO of Bird's World and Bird's World Publishing, where we are on a mission to empower 1,000 people, especially women of color, to write and publish their brilliance so they can turn their message into a movement. And it has been a journey for me. One of the ways in which Pam and I had the opportunity to meet is through networking. It's always really great to let people know what you're doing, being rooms. I personally am an introvert. I come off as an extrovert. After this, I'm going to need a really big nap, right? But I show up for the right people. And one of the things that I absolutely love showing up for is showing up for people who want to tell their stories, but don't necessarily know how to do it. So a little bit about just how all of this came about in terms of the writing community. Back in 2022, at the end of 2022, I was working with some individual clients and I was working with them separately, sending them off to do their assignments. And if you've ever been an educator or coach, no matter how young or how old you are, when you get an assignment and you come back, there's usually something that comes up, right? I remember a particular moment where I was asking one of my clients if they've done their morning pages, and they say, yeah. And I said, how many days? And they said, 1. It had been 14 days since we last met, right?
Yeah.
I realized that we have a tendency to show up for others before we show up for ourselves. And what I wanted to be able to do is pull together this group to help them build a healthy habit. It was supposed to be for 2 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's supposed to be for 2 months back in January of 2023. And not only are we still going, it is now July. How we got to July, I don't know, but it is not July of 2025. We are still going in the mornings, and now we have expanded in the evenings. And it's really been one of those spaces that helps people transform not only on the page, but in person. And
Yes.
my goodness, sometimes accidents can build a really beautiful pathway for you. I'll say that much.
Yeah, there are no accidents. The
That's true.
truth is there are no accidents, just happy surprises.
Yeah.
And maybe not all happy, but there's lots of surprises along the way. And this is part of why I'm doing this type of I'm trying to host this type of conversation in many ways, one of which is the podcast, because
Mhm.
I think a lot of us along our journey, we meet the roadblocks and the twist in the road that we're not expecting and all that. And frequently, instead of realizing that you're not alone, which is the world, if you look around you, the world tells you everybody's got it together and it's all going smooth. And look at that journey. They did it quick. And none of that is generally how it actually unfolds. And the details matter because when people are struggling, and we know we're in this moment now, this is a
My goodness.
unprecedented change, unprecedented unraveling of what we think we know. And it's only what we think we know. We know very little relative to the big truth, capital T truth, but that's okay. We're here to learn. But yeah, so I tell us a little bit about how transition has been a part of your life and how the way you navigate transition has changed over time.
Ooh,
Maybe since 2022, and you may have more that you want to
right.
share.
I mean,
Well, that is cool.
absolutely. Yeah, I've gone through so many different transitions in my life, personal and professional, some combination of the two.
Yes.
Two things I've noticed from all of the transitions across the board. One is you cannot do it alone.
Yes.
No matter how much I have tried to feel as if I had all of the answers and stay in my little corner and figure it out on my own, and honestly just stress me out. And the more I was open and vulnerable about what I was going through, the more people were able to show up for me in the way that I'm showing up for them. So I had to learn how to receive in order to even begin to get through my transition. The second thing that comes to mind is being able to listen. There are moments that I can recall where I took the leap several times. I'm actually wearing my t-shirt. I'm home. And the t-shirt says, "Leap and your wings will appear."
Yes, yes. Oh, wow. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and it's part of my merch line for my business. And there are so many different meanings that come to it. But when we start talking about the entrepreneurial journey, we start talking about transitions, there is a leap of faith that needs to happen
Yes.
before we're even able to move forward. And part of that leap requires you to listen because you don't just come up to a cliff and decide, okay, I'm going to take the first step over the cliff and hope I fly. No, there are voices that lead you to that cliff, right? There
Yes.
is the timing, there is knowing whether or not you have done your exercises, right? Whether you know if your wings can actually flap, right? And so there are moments where I call them the whispers, where we
Yes.
receive downloads, the whispers of where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do. And if you're not in alignment, if you're not attuned to the whispers, you ignore them. And there was a time where I ignored every single sign that came my way. And it wasn't until I was pushed up against a wall where I had to just stop and pause and listen and make sure that I showed up for myself. So, community is one,
Yes.
allowing yourself to be held and receive, and making sure that you are listening to not only yourself, but the messages that are coming to you around you, whether it's from your own downloads or from other people.
Yeah. Yeah. So important. And there's two things that you said there that are just so powerfully important. The first is don't isolate. So it is so easy when we're in those moments and we don't know. Somehow we've gotten the idea. This is called the Earth School for a reason. But somehow we've gotten the idea we're supposed to have it all figured out just because we're grown people, supposedly.
It's a lot.
And yes. And the fact is we're here learning,
Yeah.
and the more it's very hard when you are struggling with the fear of not knowing, and we've all been there many times. However, if you can just take a step towards a safe space. Now, this is one of the things I appreciate about your community is that for me, it's a uniquely safe space, but it is critically important that you make sure that you're stepping into a safe space
Yes.
to have that conversation. And
Yes.
so what is really important is as I think about my transition away from my corporate job, and there's a lot of things that change when you have a corporate job where you've got the tech people and the people that can do e- open your mail for you, and all of these types of things happening for you. When you walk away from that type of situation, you suddenly realize, yeah, first of all, you have to learn a bunch of stuff you never had to learn before. But you also, one of the things about walking away from and it's not just corporate, any kind of job situation, there are friends and there are work friends, and that's all good. That's just the way it is. But you have to understand that not everybody that's your work friend is your friend. And that may not be the place that you had in your interim period where you need a different type of support.
Mhm. And so
And
I think
so,
that brings up a really great point too of asking yourself the questions
yes,
of what should I be looking for? Because not every space is going to be the space for you as
that's
you
right.
begin the transition. Because a lot of people say, "Oh, don't tell people your dreams." Don't tell the wrong people your dreams. 'Cause
That's
when you
what
tell
it is.
the right people, your dreams come true. And I am a manifestation of me being able to tell the right people my dreams,
Yes.
allowing for this most recent transition to actually take place. Because if it wasn't for me expressing my dreams back in November of 2023, me moving into full time never would have happened. Wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah. 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 I'm going to say from the outside, because I was on the outside in some very real ways. I was relatively new to your community at the time, so I
Mhm.
still am learning the context
My
of your
God.
community, but you all welcomed me in a way that I haven't been welcomed in very many spaces. It was like a homecoming. The first day, playing the first meeting, I was like, "Oh, wow." Tears. It was literally tears because it was like that.
Mm.
To be seen like that and it kind of immediately is unusual, let's just say it that way. But one of the other things that you raised as a point is that listening. And so discernment is always one of the critical tools that we get to hone during our transitions.
Yeah.
Uh, and make no mistake, not everyone is worthy the right word. I don't know, but not everyone can be a worthy conversation partner, let's say it that way, during a time like a transition where you're literally the rug's been pulled out, like that kind of moment.
Yeah.
And it's okay, I have no idea. On the other hand, as you say, with the right people, what I found in my life is that it's by being in conversation with folks that I actually hone into what I should be doing.
Yeah.
Because you spin in your head, we tend to spin. Our
Oh,
head wants to spin and
I'm an
spin.
overthinker over here.
Yeah. If you're a writer, probably generally you're an overthinker too.
Yeah.
And I could, yeah, I don't know, but I could be wrong. You would know better than me. But yes, I think those of us who write have lots of things going on in our mind. And
Absolutely.
the mind is a beautiful thing, but it also can be a big distraction.
Yes.
And we have to learn how to quiet the mind also, quiet our bodies. And actually, sometimes it means activating your body to quiet the mind, to tell you the honest to goodness truth. When you,
Activate your body to quiet your mind.
it works a
I need
lot of the
to
time.
break that down just a little bit. What does that mean?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I am type A personality.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, girl,
Yeah.
I know. And so the thing is that in the last almost decade,
Mhm.
I have learned some movement styles that have given me a whole different perspective on many things. But what I have noticed with certain types of movement, I mean, running's also good, but this is not, I'm talking about restorative styles that actually manage the nervous system.
Mm,
Because our nervous system, the mind and body connection is guided by the nervous system. And when you understand how your nervous system works with the sympathetic and parasympathetic modes, and generally the world is that we live in at the moment is dialing up sympathetic mode all the time. There's hardly anything that feeds that other part that we actually need to balance out the sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight mode,
yeah.
fight, flight, freeze, fawn
Yes.
mode. And anyhow, what I've learned is when I started to actively tap in gently to my body,
Mm,
my mind settles so much more quickly. I
mm,
can settle into meditation
mm.
faster. I can settle into prayer faster. And I think it's a critical tool in many there's many other ones too, but
Yeah.
it's a critical
Walking.
tool to yes, just walking.
Walking.
That's right, in nature in
Yes.
particular.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, and it one of the things is that the rhythm of life, the rhythm of modern life is different than our rhythms
Yes.
as human beings. We've created something that's not a sustainable rhythm. And for those of us who
That was a word right there. I was like,
yeah,
we have created something that is not a sustainable rhythm.
yeah, it is.
Learning.
That's what we've done.
I'm learning.
And we could there's many versions of talking about what all that means, but I want to get back to you.
Oh,
So I just all of these things, this whole thing about bringing discernment to your process of transitioning.
yes.
What are some of the other ways I talk about movement? I'm sure I've watched some of your artistic movement, which is just beautiful online. Yeah. But what other things are you using to help to get you in that mode where you can clearly discern what the next step is? And part of it's the waiting.
It is
And I want you to talk about the waiting part is hard.
it's hard, especially when you're so used to, or you want to, the world again wants things to happen so quickly
That's right.
and they don't reward patience and
That's
time.
right.
And so you have to go against the grain in order to make that happen. And so creating time to read, to sit, to journal. I think that's one of the things that is really beautiful about the community that's been created for the morning and evening spaces is that we have an opportunity to write out what's going on in our minds. I
Yes.
know for myself that it takes me 3 pages to really understand what I should be focusing on. I
Yeah.
think I know what I'm talking about at the beginning of page 1, but by the time I get to the end of page 3, it's, oh, that's what I need to be talking about. So being able,
That's exactly what Julia Cameron says on
yeah,
Artist Way.
yeah.
She's like, "It takes 2 to 3 pages to
It
get
takes 2 or
clear."
3 pages to, and I wanna write about a unicorn. By the time you get done, you are now writing about an island somewhere in a hammock on a boat, and you're like, "How did I get there?" And it's
Yeah.
really about being honest with yourself, and so journaling is a big part of that. I have my own spiritual practices that
Yes.
allow me to tap into my own subconscious and ask myself questions and allow for that maybe another question or the in answer, I'm not gonna say the
Uh-huh.
answer, but in answer to come my way. I'm really in tune with the moon. That's going to sound
No, it's a very feminine place to live.
yes. So understanding where the moon is and its placement and how I am reacting to certain things and why I'm reacting to certain things.
Mhm.
Go back again to community. I can't say it enough. They have
Yeah.
saved me several times over,
Yes.
and allowed for me not to be stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's take a little bit of a detour
Okay.
because what myths? So this one of the things that's so interesting to me is that, and we had this conversation this morning in morning pages about there's so many things that we've been sold that we actually don't ask. We don't even ask the question of whether or not it might not be true, and we just operate our lives as if, and then all of a
Mm.
sudden you realize, "I'm gonna divest of this myth." So what are the myths along the way that you've divested of that have really made a difference?
The myth of, we could call it myth or a trait of white supremacy, of either or,
Yes.
right? So the either or thinking, you are either this or that. I went through a
Yes.
period where because I have the ability to be an administrator and I am also an artist, there was a period of time where folks told me I could either be an artist or an administrator, but I couldn't do both.
Yeah.
And honestly, I realized that was a limitation of someone else's belief and understanding of what they can do and not what I can do. And so the myth of you have to choose. I want my cake and I want to eat it too. And I want to enjoy it and do a dance and listen to my favorite song while I do it. And I honestly believe that all of it is possible. And I've seen what happens when I break the myth of you can only have so much. We also, I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. We become what we see. And when we don't see what we might want to become, we limit ourselves. And so I do
Yeah.
best to like dream and believe that dreams can come true. I think that's a myth that dreams can't come true. And I'm like, no, they can come true. It's about thinking about what that looks like. Being broke,
Yeah.
the idea for me specifically of moving into full-time entrepreneurship and people having ideas around what's possible with that. I will say that my mind is the richest it's been. And
Yeah. What is wealth? That's right.
what is wealth, right? So the myth around wealth, it only being something that is monetary and that you can hold and you can count, right? Honestly, the counting, I can count my blessings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I am rich in the level of peace that I have been able to receive. And all of that is in alignment with how I move forward. So if my body and my mind is at peace, I then have the clarity that comes my way so that I can actually listen, so that I can
Yes.
move forward. So that's another
Yeah.
myth of rich and rich only being or wealth only being one thing. I'm trying to think of another one. Well, no, those are the ones that are
The big ones.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us what is at least one, and maybe you have more than one, at least one truth you wish that women that are in transition knew, or you feel like they need to know that you wish you knew uh, earlier.
That it's possible. And it goes back to the dreaming
Yeah.
and dreams coming true and them being possible. I think that's the biggest thing. We are sold a dream that does not serve us. It's
Yeah.
larger economy, it serves capitalism, it serves the wealthy. It doesn't serve our individual needs.
It doesn't serve our spirit.
It doesn't
It
serve
doesn't serve our soul.
oh my goodness, like all of those pieces. And
Yes.
because there is a devaluing of anything that is not adding to capitalism,
Yeah.
we're hesitant to move forward.
Yes.
And so understanding that you can pursue your dreams. Growing up, people used to always question what I was doing, question me about my degree because I got my degree in my undergrad degree in English and theater. And it's so funny to me that people don't understand the value of English majoring.
Yeah. That's mind boggling.
It blows my mind, but they're like, what are you going to do with that? How are you going to make money? And I said, watch me.
Yeah.
And then I got my master's in organizational leadership. And they're like, well, what you going to do with that? Watch me. Well, I got my certificate in spoken word pedagogy, and
Yeah.
that really like
Yeah.
people
Yeah. Yeah.
they had
Well,
no idea what to do with that. And I said, watch me.
and I know as an artist, because this is one of the overarching myths of our culture is that artists starve. That's starving artist is like a meme,
It,
meme,
it is.
and it is not fact and it is not truth. Um, and so I just really appreciate how you and look, the fact of the matter is the entrepreneurial journey is not for the faint of heart.
It is not.
I will say that is true. That is not a myth. That is facts. It is not. That is fact. Because it is probably one of the biggest growth journeys you can ever go on. And if you think you know yourself, start a business and you will know a whole lot more about yourself.
Say that one more time. That's
Start a business if you think you know yourself, because you will be surprised. It's everything that you believe about yourself and about the world, and all of that will roll right on through your business. If you want to learn the lessons, you can get really clear. And if you
yes.
don't, a lot of times the businesses can't survive. the
Yes.
lack of clarity.
Yeah,
It's not for the faint of heart, and yet it's the best thing I've ever done.
exactly.
And my heart is full. I'm meeting people like you. It's just the best thing ever. But yeah,
And that was
it's
enough.
not for the faint of heart. You
Which
have to,
again, community, right?
yeah,
Going back to that space of it not being for the faint of heart. If you are a recovering perfectionist, a recovering type A, a recovering overthinker, right? Like you want people to be with you on the journey so that when you come up again, there are plenty of times where I have called some of my peers and friends
yeah,
and been like, I'm not doing it anymore. And
yeah,
they've been like, hop on a call right now.
yeah,
Like they
yeah,
create
yeah,
space and time for me to work through what it is that I'm going through.
yeah.
And so I think that would be the second thing. One, believe that you can do it and that it's possible. Just because you haven't seen it before does not mean it cannot be done. And then the second thing is find your people.
Yeah, the power of your tribe, community, whatever you want to call. Absolutely. Okay, what's a question? This is the real talk moment, and I want to ask. I love this one. This is my favorite question of the ones that I've curated for this moment.
Okay.
What's a question that you're currently living into?
What is a question that I am currently living into? Can you give me an example?
So for me, I'm currently living into the question of what it means to really build a team around me.
Oh, okay.
And it's a different thing than having a team come from a corporate somebody building
Mhm.
the team and you're part of it. Yeah.
I think the question that I'm asking myself every day is what do I need to unlearn?
Yes. Yeah, this is a journey of unlearning. Kids come in clear,
They do.
and then we socialize them. And then we as adults have to unlearn all that stuff so we can get back to ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And bring our gifts. At the end of the day, we're here. We're all here to share the best of us with the world.
Yeah. Those are two then, because every day I'm asking myself, what do I need to unlearn and how can I stand in my light?
I love that. How can I stand in my light?
Mhm.
Beautiful. And
Mhm.
not let that's right, not let that not let a basket or bushel be put over top of it. You gotta, yeah, let it hide.
I'm coming.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Give us one thing you would say to this an audience member who's between what was and what's next.
Fall in love with the journey.
Oh, yes.
There's a tendency to harp on what was and not give yourself grace for the knowledge that you didn't have. And
Mhm.
there's also this comparison game that creeps in when you start looking at what could have been your future or what can be your future or where others might have been or might be in the moment and you begin to compare yourself and feel bad about yourself because you're not where they are, right?
Yes.
So, in order for this journey to be something that you want to continue doing when you wake up in the morning, fall in love with where you are right now and know that each step that you're taking is leading you to this place where you need to be.
Wow. That's a beautiful note to close on. Thank you so much, Heather. Amazing. Another amazing conversation. I just love the time that we get to spend together. You always pull new and exciting things out of my spirit. That's the only way I can describe it, out of my spirit. And I think the community does the same thing. Now, tell us how listeners can support your work and stay connected with you quickly. But we're going to
Absolutely.
put it in the show notes. So don't worry
No,
if you miss it.
yes, no problem, no problem. I would love to get to know each and every one of you all that are listening and or watching. And I truly believe that we have the opportunity to get back to who we were as children and really be more creative and put our books out into the world and start the movements that are necessary. So if you are interested in learning more about what we do at Bird's World and Bird's World Publishing, I host open houses every other Tuesday where we can come together, meet one another, be in community, and then learn more about what this looks like for you in your future. So if you're interested, we can drop the link in the show notes, as Pam said, but I would love to be able to see you in those spaces. And I can't wait for you to be able to hold your book in your hand.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here, Heather. Your wisdom and joyful spirit and willingness to hold a whole 1,000 people that's a beautiful vision. To hold 1,000 people through the journey of writing their book, even if it's only one.
Yeah.
Some of us only have one.
3 to 5, I believe it.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Okay, but even if it's only one,
Yeah.
and you don't have to see all of them, by the way, in the beginning. All you have to do is start. Amazing what happens when you open yourself to the possibilities,
Right.
as you say.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
But what you shared here is a powerful reminder that there's so much more to us than we
Oh, yeah,
often remember.
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate.
Thank you.
Before we close today, I want to leave you with this thought. There's something sacred about being witnessed in your becoming. When we're in transition, we're no longer who we were, yet not who we're becoming. It can feel like the ground is giving way beneath us. But community, real, rooted, nourishing community becomes the ground. The people who say, I see you, I've been there, take your time. Those are the ones who hold the net when we're learning to fly in a new direction. You don't have to navigate change alone. You don't have to carry your questions in silence. You don't have to earn belonging through certainty or performance. Sometimes healing begins with someone simply sitting beside you and saying, you don't have to know the way. I'm just glad you're here. So if you're in the in-between, pause and ask, who helps me feel held in the shift? And how can I be that presence for someone else? May you remember this truth. Community is not a luxury, it's a lifeline. And you, beloved, are never meant to rise alone. Until next time, realign, reflect, and rise in rhythm with your soul. What if retirement wasn't a finish line, but a sacred beginning? Women Don't Retire is a call to reimagine your next chapter with purpose, power, and joy. I share real stories, deep truths, and practical wisdom for women ready to lead, even after leaving the title behind. Available now on Kindle and Amazon. See the show notes for a link to get your copy today. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. Until next time, stay soft, stay grounded, and stay in sync with your soul. Subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone at their own threshold.